Hey guys, welcome to the third episode of Web3 Node Operators, a series that highlights teams running validators and critical Web3 infrastructure. Today, I am accompanied by Imad from Enigma. Imad, I am excited to talk to you today. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you, David. Thank you for having me here, and nice to be here.
It's a pleasure. Imad, can you give me and the viewers a little overview about who you are and what Enigma is?
Yes, so basically, so my name is Imad. I am the co-founder of Enigma Validator. So originally, I was a data scientist and data engineers, so working in financial companies and traveling companies. So Enigma is a professional validator. So we are validating on Cosmos on about 23 chains, I think, yeah. And we are proposing, layers and so on for those chains. And of course, other tools that I can elaborate later, I think. Yeah.
How many people work at Enigma?
So we are currently four people. Basically, we are all, or three of us are data engineers, DevOps, data scientists, and we have a front end. So the guys is a front end. So yeah, so we are managing the validators, proposing some tools also, and proposing our experiences as engineers and our experiences in the crypto world to bring most valuable value in the ecosystem.
Where are you based? Are you distributed like an international team, or do you have a home country?
So now we are currently all based in Paris, and we are turning each other to cover the most of our, crypto world is never stop. So, so we are basically, distributing each time the best that we can, so we can dealing with issue, with news, and so on.
And how did you guys find yourself, and how did you end up founding Enigma? Because so as you said, most of your team have a data science background. So how did you end up? Hey, let's run some validators for Cosmos.
Yeah. So this was during the school. So we did an engineering school, and we studied at École Polytechnique, in mathematics. And during those times, I met my teammate, so Wasim, with whom we found Enigma. And how it started. So like many people, I was an investor, and I had early stage opportunity to invest in key foundation, so from the Cosmos ecosystem. This is where I bought, many tokens from Key, and I saw that there was an opportunity to launch a validator with those tokens. So we begin to interesting to how we can do it, how it works. Yes, we managed to launch our first node on Key. It was about more than 1 year. I think it was September 2020. Yeah. So yeah. So until now, we are doing, validating stuff and other contributions.
So you launched your first validator 4 months ago, 5 months?
No, it was 1 year and a half.
Okay.
Ago.
21,
it was in September 2020. Yeah.
Okay. I misunderstood that. All right.
No.
Now I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay, so you launched your first validator on Key. What happened after that? So you probably made some money, and then you thought, hey, we can make more.
So we began to saw that the ecosystem, the Cosmos ecosystem was big, and we saw that it was very interesting for us. We didn't quit our job first. We were doing in parallel. We are working on it and working on our professional, in our professional field. And then yes, we saw that it was a good opportunity for us, and it was very interesting that we deploy our skills and experience in the ecosystem. So as we were, how to say, early, we then launched our second node on Bitsong, I think. Yeah. So yeah, at this stage, we begin the journey of validating and create our community and so on.
And where are you now in terms of running infrastructure like validators and relayers?
Yeah, so we provide validators, relayers, we run oracles. Is technical, you mean? How?
No, it's not technical, just in
Okay.
general.
Yeah, so we are providing those three tools, and we begin to run RPC infrastructures and so on. So yeah, it began to grow up a lot, and yeah, this is where we are.
So most people in the Cosmos ecosystem, they are aware of what a validator is and roughly what it does, because most people stake their tokens to validators. But a lot of people, I think, are not aware of what an oracle does. You said you also run oracles. Can you talk about this a little bit and explain first what is an oracle, and secondly, why do we need this?
Yeah, so first of all, Oracle provide current prices of tokens on the ecosystem, and when validator provide oracles, it can be slash on the validator part because you are validating prices, so the price must be must be correct, and there is a lot of application that needs those prices to run. So basically, this is what is for.
What do you think about the Juno upgrade to version 12 that includes oracles?
So I think this might be good for the project, for Juno, so ecosystem. It could be a good opportunity, to increase value, to bring more utilities to the network. But also it can be dangerous, Oracle, as we know, not easy to run and to create mostly, and serious hacker and so on. So yeah, it can be dangerous, but you have to find a threshold between utility and security. And but basically, if all project was afraid of security, we will not launch anything, So yeah, I think it might be good, but we have to take care about security first.
Makes total sense. I think in the last couple of years, there have been so many Oracle exploits. I'm not fully sure if the total amount of hacked value from oracles was higher than bridges, but that just shows that oracles are a highly complex application that are critical. If you
Yeah.
want to do anything with blockchains that goes beyond shuffling tokens, you need data, price data, external data. Yeah, it just shows how important these things are.
Definitely.
Another thing, a lot of viewers are probably not that comfortable or don't know that well, are relayers. What does a relayer do?
So basically, if there is not relayers, there is not EBC transaction. So relayers aim to to transfer packet between channels, between different channels. So for instance, between Osmosis and Juno, So this is for the inter-chain blockchain communication, basically. And validators are often, not often, but there are several validators that provide architecture, so relayer surface architecture, and provide are relaying packets between channels.
What do you think about IBC expanding its scope from just Cosmos SDK chains to the broader Cosmos ecosystem, for example, with
Avalanche.
Landslide and Avalanche, correct, or composable finance and Polkadot? And I think there's also talks for Ethereum and Near. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it is very good for the ecosystem. The aim of Cosmos is to build a blockchain internet, So more, I think, more ecosystem are connected, more it is good for the network. So I think it might be a very good element to have it. To have
Definitely.
them, sorry.
Definitely. Switching gears a little bit back to the validators, bare metal or cloud, and why?
Okay. So currently we are doing both on some independent chains, and but currently we are mostly on cloud provider. So we're using, I don't know if you know OVH,
Yes.
which is yes. So we're using OVH and Scalway. So with dedicated servers. And why is that? It's because it can give us redundancy, and robustness if one cloud server fails, or I don't know what happened. Like it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago when OVH servers fires in France. So when you have cloud provider, you can switch servers rapidly, and but we are prepared to it. So technically in our infrastructure, we are using, so as I said, different cloud provider. In case of if one thing happened to one cloud provider, we can switch rapidly. So yeah, we are prepared to
What's the
it.
trade-off between bare metal and cloud? Because there's a lot of discussion going on there. I call them bare metal maxis. It's only bare metal. Then there are the guys, yeah, screw it, just cloud. What's in general, what's the benefit of either?
So yes, most validators are running on cloud provider. Yes, so because it is cheaper, and basically you don't have to take care about internet issue with the servers. So they are all managing it. So yeah, whereas in the Baremetal you have to take care approximately all the elements in it, internet, security, even electricity, which today is higher than than before with what happened in Ukraine, and So yeah, basically I think that most of people are using cloud provider because it is more not useful, but more helpful, if I can say so. And but for technical perspective, Baremetal are better in performance. So yeah, we have to find a threshold between those two kinds of servers.
You're totally right. And I think for very small validators, it's almost impractical to run their own infrastructure just because of cost maintenance, the amount of work you have to put in and the amount of initial capital to acquire the hardware just doesn't match the resources or the income of a low stake validator on two chains somewhere in the on place 130.
Yeah, definitely. And
it barely covers the cloud costs even.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, actually, we were losing money at the beginning of our journey, and it depends of what you take in the cloud provider. There is a validator that use Contabo, for instance, virtual machines, which is totally different from a dedicated machine. So yeah, cloud provider can be great, but again, you have to choose carefully about the robustness of your server. You have to take care about the loads of the chain that you are validating on. There are some chains that are more energivore, if I can say so, than others, smaller chains. So yeah, you have to take care of all of these elements before you choose your servers.
Running infrastructure and making sure the blockchain is actually a chain of blocks where the network is alive. Another job of validators is to participate in governance. So that means that users delegate you their tokens and you earn commission, but also you have to represent them in governance. Let's talk about my favorite topic in the series, on-chain governance.
Great.
What do you think about the current state of governance in the Cosmos ecosystem?
So currently, I think that is not too bad. I mean, each validator has its own mind, and as they have a lot of voting power. I think on some chains the voting power is not equally distributed, which is dangerous for the governance and the decentralization. And as each validator has its own mind, it can bring so animated debated on Twitter. Some called it drama, but so yeah, it can be animated, and but I think it is not a too negative aspect of it, because if there is drama, it means that people are disagree on some stuff, and it can be debatable on this. And this is what decentralization is. Each person has its right to give its opinion and to vote accordingly to it. Otherwise, I think there is some negative stuff that happened during last year, for instance, like on the proposal 89 on Cosmos. I think validators, the issue is that validators are not voting for the best of the project currently. There is some validators that are not playing the game. I mean, when we vote, we always should take care of the interest of the project. And today, there is some stakeholder that sees their interest, personal interest, and vote accordingly. So it can be dangerous. And it can also have bribery attempt on the validators, for instance, on osmosis to activate, external incentives on some pools. So yeah, the state of the current governance is it can be improved. So it is not. I mean, this is not too bad, but it can be improved.
Beginning of your answer, you talked about decentralization or centralization of stake. So typically in blockchain networks, that is measured as the Nakamoto coefficient or Nakamoto index. And that's a number, and that says how many validators starting from the top are required to bring serious harm to the ecosystem, for example, to stop the blockchain. How do you think can we improve the coefficient, or in other words, increase decentralization in Cosmos networks?
Yeah, so I saw that Axelar, for instance, implemented the quadratic voting. I don't know if you heard about it. So basically, when you run a blockchain, if the first, 30 validator has, I don't know, 70% of the voting power. Imagine this, and that you are adding some validators. It doesn't mean that it will be more decentralized, because the first 30 validator will have again 70% of the voting power. And what quadratic voting does is that it weighted the voting power to the vote. And even, for instance, if you are a validator that have 4% of the voting power in a normal blockchain, when you vote that the block is correct, you will have, for instance, 4 units of voting. But in the quadratic voting, you will have 2 units of voting. So what it does is that it gives less weight to the more powerful validator, and give more weight than before to the lower validators for voting. So it's, from my point of view, it helps to decentralization, for instance. So yeah, decentralization is very good thing, but it is a big problem for some blockchains that are very badly decentralized. And so yes, projects like this are aiming to solve this, and I think that blockchain are very focused on it. So it is good.
Do you think that some large validators on XLR that don't want their vote to be diluted will Sybil, so create a second validator under a different name?
It happened in some chains, and we already saw it. But I mean, on Axelar or other chains, professional validators know that decentralization is very important even for them. You know, if harm comes to the chain, it will harm them too. So professional validator, I think they are enough professional to know that even if they have less weighted votes in the chain, they would have interest in it, you know. And yeah, I think. And anyway, from Enigma, we are currently at not yes, we are high in the set of Axelar validator, but we are welcoming this improvement harmfully.
So all this governance structure that we talked about, it is used to vote on proposals that community members or core team members can propose, and then the changes are implemented. And sometimes the votes or your vote is pretty obvious. Sometimes it's a lot of technical improvements, and that's a clear yes. But sometimes things get a little bit more complicated. There's risk involved. There's different directions the network decides to go.
Mm-hmm.
And my question is, by what metrics do you decide yes or no, or abstain? How do you approach this?
So basically, at Enigma, what we are doing is that we check and we see if it is in the best interest of the chain, for us anyway. If in the long term, it will serve the blockchain or not. And firstly, we are discussing in the team. So as we have different background, we are discussing on the proposal, see what can come in or come out of this. We are also talking with the community. You know, we have Discord channel, Twitter channels, Twitter account. So yes, community are always welcome to discuss with us about it. And we are also following Twitter debate. So because I mean, even if we are a lot, you know, in the community and so on, there is always a guy that will bring some new perspective of the proposal that you hadn't had before, and say, oh, this is a good point, or no, this is not a good one. So yes, we are trying to see what are the conviction and the ideas of the both sides, and we are deciding on it.
I think that's a reasonable approach, considering that the answer to the votes is often clear. So often it's clear yes or clear no, but sometimes it's a very, very delicate decision, and crypto is so the deeper you go into it, the more overwhelming it gets, because the space just in this niche, you know, the Cosmos ecosystem is moving so fast that yeah, it can be hard to make the right decisions as a validator, but it's very good to listen to the community, what they think is right. And that's also the beauty of Cosmos governance, that you can, as a delegator, choose validators to represent your opinion. But if you disagree with a certain vote, you can always override the vote. So
yeah, and this is very good point of the chain. And I mean, it can be hard sometimes because there is some validator that vote at the end of the period of the proposing period. So you know, sometimes validators have no time to vote and change their mind. And there is some validator the delegators that don't know that they can do it. This is the education problem. And also yes, they will have time to look at proposals. But what we are doing is that we try to, once we have a clear mind of what we are going to do, is voting to give people time, you know, to change. If they are not agree with us, they also always can vote themselves. And you know, we are so participating in space, so we are involving a lot of in Twitter space, you know, we are listening a lot on them to, as I said, to see the opinion and the argument of each one.
talking of participation in the space, you run validators, you run relayers. What else do you contribute to the ecosystem? Because contributions to the ecosystem beyond just producing blocks is something that a lot of community members value very highly.
Yeah, definitely. As we are a lot of validators, but what will give you more, useful of your part in the ecosystem is our contribution. And so we try to do it at early stage. So we are bringing several tools to the ecosystem. For instance, we develop, I don't know if you see it, the EBC client monitoring tool on Discord that is used by Axela, Kojira, Say, and so on. So which is, so when you are rolling packet between chains, in channel, if a channel is not used during a long time, it can expire, and to restart it, chain has to do either a proposal, either to create a new one, to rolling. So what we develop is a tool that monitors each channel and that set alerts when they are close to expire, And beside this, it restarts them before it expires. So this is useful for chain because there is some chance that can be, not be used during a long time, but then one day they need it, and it is, pain in the ass to, to restart it. And our tools aim to also monitoring relayers' wallets and send alerts when they are close to expire, to be dry, sorry. We are also providing some faucet bots, for example, on Axelar, Kujira, Say, Bitsong. So this is our faucet that are used. So Enigma also develops the info Juno swap analytic website. So that aim to display retrieving and display prices, liquidity, and volumes from the DEX. So currently it is closing, but yeah, it was working not long time ago. But our Juno swap is still working. So yeah, we are still maintaining it. And we are also providing to CoinGecko prices from them. So we are currently providing from Juno, from all the tokens that were listed on Juno swap. So we have exchange with them. And finally, we are providing Discord prices bot since a long time now. We have a lot of prices Discord bot on our servers, and we provide them for Yumi, Comdex, Bitsong, so on. And we try to diversify ourselves to educate people on the crypto through our Twitter account mostly. And we will soon be providing RPC, public node, and other infrastructure for the ecosystem.
That's quite a lot, to be honest. I don't know where to start. So in a summary, you provide a lot of toolings like bots for the channels, for prices, info pages. So your focus is on building convenience tools that increase efficiency, save everybody time. That's your current direction, right?
Yes, definitely. Yes, we are. When we enter in the project, we try to see what are the needs, and this is what we have done until now. For the faucet bots that are needed mostly in testnet, like the EBC client bot and so on. And as I said, as we are data scientists, data engineers in the team, we are oriented more in the analytics, and this is why we built the info Juno swap. It was a good opportunity for us to have first experiences in it, retrieve prices from retrieve volumes and so on from the blockchain, and create our website on it.
Looking into the next 12 months, what are your plans at Enigma? What's next for you guys?
So as I said, develop and provide new tools for the ecosystem. So as I said, RPC nodes. We are also building a wallet, Enigma wallet, which is a dashboard, that you able you to delegate some tokens, to see the proposals and vote on them directly. And we will be most of the time oriented educational, because it is true that we develop a lot of tools, and but we want to to orientate ourselves in the educational part and provide educational and YouTube video on the ecosystem, on the different metrics and news that happened in the Cosmos ecosystem. So this is the plan.
Yeah, it seems like you guys have a lot to do, and I hope that you find the time to do
Yeah.
this. And obviously, people value your work and delegate accordingly, and that's a prerequisite for this. But Imad, our interview is slowly coming to an end. Is there anything left you want to say to our audience?
So I was happy to be here, and yeah, so we made a thread on how to delegate and how to choose a validator carefully. So I think it is worth to take a look. And I saw that you are working with Skip protocol. Yeah, basically, so we are using Skip protocol from the daily, so the beginning, and on Juno, on Terra 2, we love them. So yeah, congrats for what you are doing and building around the MEV, and yeah, hope you collaborate together on them in the future.
Yeah, Skip is an amazing protocol, and they have a great team. I really like them. All right, Imad, thank you very much for the time. I can only give back compliments to you. A large pleasure talking to you.
You too.
And I'm looking forward to what you guys are building next for the ecosystem.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. See you around.
Bye-bye.
Bye.